Okay, in this video, we are going to be looking at how to make a graph based on a relationship or equation between two different variables. Remember, a variable is a letter that stands in for a number. In this circumstance, we're very often just using x and y, because remember we have our x-axis and our y-axis. So let's read the example. This rule describes a relationship between x and y. To find what y is, you have to multiply x by 5. Let's turn that into an equation. That'll help us later. So y equals 5 times x. Remember, we can also just write that as y equals 5x, 5 times x. So here we see they've already plugged in the variable for 1. So if we put in 1 for x, 1 times 5 obviously equals 5. But we don't yet know what the y value is when x is 2. So let's try plugging it in. I'm just going to draw a line here to make it a little more clear. So y equals 5 times, and this time we're saying x is equal to 2. So when x is 2, 2 times 5 is obviously 10. Y equals 10. So I can write that in there a little bit, okay? We already know for 3, and it makes sense that 3 in this spot, 3 times 5 is 15, so yeah, that works. We have to find out what the y value is for 4, so we'll plug it in. Y equals 5 times the x value of 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So when x is 4, y is 20. So the second part of the question is, complete the table and select the graph that shows the relationship. So we did complete the table. Now we have to select the graph. So when x is 1, y is 5. Yeah, that works for this one. Over here, when x is at 1, y is at 10. So I'm pretty sure it's this one here. Let's double check. When x is 2, y is 10. Yep. When x is 3, y is 15, yes. And when x is 4, y is 20. Perfect. Obviously, this is the correct graph to show this relationship and has this table of values. Okay, I'll try and go a little faster this time. The rule describes a relationship between x and y. To find y, subtract 3 from x. So what's that saying is y equals x minus 3. Oops. I'm subtracting 3 from x, minusing 3 from x, okay? So now we have to start by completing the table. So when x is 3, if we plug that in, that one's already done for us. But 3, y equals x minus 3. And when we plug in 3 minus 3, y equals 0. So we've got that one there. And they've done the next one for us. It makes sense. 4 minus 3 is 1. So let's do the next one after that. So y equals x minus 3. But instead of x, we're going to put in 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. So when x is 5, y is 2. And the last one here, 6. Y equals x minus 3. When x is 6, 6 minus 3 is obviously 3. Y is 3. So let's see which graph matches. 3 and 0. No, doesn't look like this one. It's going to be this one, isn't it? 3 and 0. 4 and 1. 5 and 2. 6 and 3. Yes, obviously, it's this one. So although this example looks the same, looks quite different, it's actually the same kind of concept. It's just taking it kind of to the next level. They haven't provided as much information for us. You'll notice what it's asking to is a little different. It just wants us to graph the function and select points on the graph. So they haven't said how many points. I'm sure in the IXL practice, they'll tell you how many they want you to do. But let's sort of figure out how we do this. So we have our relationship or our equation here. So we're going to create a table of values like we had in the other examples. When x is something, y is something. So I'm just going to make like a simple t-chart. I always like to start with 0. So we have our equation. So down here, y equals x plus 6. When x is 0, 0 plus 6, obviously 6, y equals 6. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that. 0 across, 6 up, right in there. Sorry, a little hard. Okay, let's try for another one. Let's do 1. Y equals x plus 6. When x is 1 plus 6, y is 7. Probably starting to see that there's generally a pattern here. Let's jump. Let's do 5 this time. Okay. Y equals x plus 6. When x is 5, y is 11. 5 plus 6 is 11. Let's do 10. Okay, y equals x plus 6. When x is 10, sorry, that's supposed to be 10, plus 6, y equals 16. So let's just plot the coordinates we have on our graph. 1, oh, so looking at this one now, 1 and 7. So I go 1 across and positive 7. Sorry, it's not easy on this. 5 across and 11 up. Uh-oh, I'm gonna run out of space. Maybe I should have done smaller numbers. 5 across, 11, about there. You know what, I'm gonna do another point that's maybe a negative number. Tried to make some more room for myself here. So let's do -2, shall we? Y equals x plus 6, -2 plus 6. If I have -2, I add 6 to it. I now have positive 4. So y equals 4. So when I'm at -2, it's at positive 4. I think it does make a straight line. I'm going to do one more. Sorry, I should have added that in there. When it's -2, y equals 4. Let's do, how about -6? -6. So y equals x plus 6. When x is -6, -6 plus 6 equals 0. Y is 0. So -6 and 0. And I think that will make a straight line through there. Good work. Okay, this is the last example we're going to do with this concept. This example is very similar to the last one, where they've given us the function or the equation, the relationship, and we are to do some points on the graph. So let's make a table of values to help us first. So when x is something, y is whatever. Our formula, the reason I chose this one is the formula looks a little trickier, but it's the same concept. 1/2 x minus 4. So let's just pick easy numbers that can be split in half, because this is saying 1/2 times x. You could think of that as divided by 2 if you want. So split in half, split in 2, divided by 2. For easiest one I can think of is 4. So if we put in x is 4, 1/2 times 4 minus 4. 1/2 of 4 is 2. I'm sure you're aware of that. Minus 4, our answer is going to be -2. So when x is 4, y is -2. We'll graph that, 4 and -2, just in there. I'll do another coordinate over here. Let's try, why don't we do -4 this time? So y equals 1/2 x minus 4. 1/2 times -4 minus 4. So 1/2 of -4, when we have positive times by a negative, it's going to be negative, is -2 minus 4. We know that -2 minus 4 is -6. So y equals -6. So if we go over to -4 and down to -6, just in there. Okay. I made some more space. Let's try, how about x equals 0? Y equals 1/2 times x minus 4. 1/2 times 0 minus 4. Obviously, half of 0 is still 0. Minus 4. So y equals 0 minus 4 is -4. So 0 and -4. Oh, I think I see a line forming here. Let's do one more. How about we do +8? So I'm just gonna do it over here. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. 1/2 times 8 minus 4. Half of 8, splitting 8 in 2, obviously equals 4. Minus 4 equals 0. So when we're at 8 across, we're at 0 on the y-axis, and we start to see our line. Okay, hope that makes sense. Good luck.